Have you ever wondered why the Biden administration hasn't stopped the ongoing crisis at our southern border? Well, maybe it's because they'd like to turn those illegal aliens, migrants, into Democratic voters in the not too distant future. Take a look at this opinion piece recently published in the New York Times. It's time for Democrats to radically expand the electorate. Democrats are likely to be the biggest beneficiaries of this change. Expanding the franchise in this way would give American democracy new life, restore immigrants' trust in government, and send a powerful message of inclusion to the rest of the world. What? Here with me to break this down is the host of the Rob Smith is Problematic podcast and contributor here to the First TV, Rob Smith. Rob, when you hear something like this, what does it tell you about the left's mindset when it comes to citizenship?
Well, it tells me that they really don't care about citizenship all that much. And it's actually very shocking to me. This is really an instance of the left saying the quiet part out loud. And when you look at the policies that they've been pushing over the past couple of years, specifically with what's going on right now at the southern border, it is very obvious that they want to import as many people into this country as possible for them to eventually turn into voters. But this is surprising that they're just being blatant and saying it. So no, they don't really care that much about citizenship. It seems like they don't really care too much about America because it seems like they are so intent and so quick to just radically change who is voting in America. This is, to me, absurd, and it really speaks to where the left is at right now as a party. And let me just make one point that generally when progressives start doing something, this is what the left does. They will float the crazy ideas out there in somewhere like the New York Times, and the people will be like, oh, well, that's crazy. That can never happen. And then it makes its way into some of the more progressive members of, say, Congress or some of the more progressive influential figures. All of a sudden, in a decade, you and I are both racist if we are against it. So that's how this stuff works, Buck.
Rob, it seems to me that the Democrats are increasingly embracing the notion that it just doesn't really matter if you're somebody who goes through the process, respects American laws or not, as long as you will add to their power by being a body, a person who votes for them, they're all in favor of it, which really starts to bring questions to mind like, well, then what does it even mean to be an American?
Well, to them, it means nothing to be an American. I mean, honestly, when you talk to them, they're ashamed of it. They are always criticizing America. They are always bashing America. So this is very much in line with, the way that they feel about this country. So that if being American means nothing, if being a citizen means nothing, then being able to vote means nothing at all to them either. So why not throw out that right to millions of people who are not citizens? And by the way, the people that they are focused on the most are people that have already broken our laws by being here illegally in the first place. It makes absolutely no sense unless you are a power mad Democrat politician.
Rob, there was a lot of controversy. Actually, I got a fair amount of heat for talking about this on radio, and I wasn't expecting that it would be quite as sensitive a topic as it turned out to be. Simone Biles, who stepped out of a few Olympic events and now came back, got a bronze medal. Now we're told this is a huge story of heroism and overcoming and all this other stuff. Why was there such a tremendous backlash to making the very, it would seem, obvious observation that while it's fine to say that you're not emotionally or psychologically up for competing in a sports event, right? Everyone has that right. It seems like a strange thing to say that everyone has to celebrate, and if you don't celebrate it, you're a bad person. And that was what the Democrat left was saying. What was going on?
What was going on is just the wholehearted embrace of victim culture. I read a tweet from Candace Owens, and she got it absolutely right. She said this: Simone pulling out of the Olympic sport doesn't make her a hero. It makes her somebody that is human, as we all are, that is fallible. So yes, go get the rest that you need to get. But the media turned her into some sort of hero, some sort of martyr for the cause. And that didn't make a lot of sense either. And if you were a political commentator on the right, if you did anything but absolutely worship this choice by Simone Biles, you were vilified for this. And this really speaks to how polarized every single thing is in this climate right now. I don't think it's a political conversation. I think that the conversation about America's embrace of victimhood culture and all of that stuff, I think that defies left or right. That is something that if you're on the left or you're on the right, this is something that we should be concerned about because it affects our future. It affects the types of people that will be leaders in this country. And so, like I said, it just really does speaks to how polarizing every single thing is. And it speaks to the idea that there is only one opinion that you are allowed to have, and that is the opinion that the left has said that you are allowed to.
We also saw the women's national soccer team at the Olympics taking a knee and then losing first to Sweden, then to Canada. And there was pretty substantial backlash among a lot of Americans, certainly based on what was trending online and what some of the commentary was around this. Rob, do you think that wokeness in sports is at least not as clear of a brand enhancing opportunity as perhaps it had seemed when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee and Nike was giving him a huge contract? Or is this just a one-off and you'll still see a lot of athletes doing this in the coming season?
Well, you'll still see a lot of athletes doing this in the coming season in the future because you have to separate what is good for the personal athlete's brand from what is good for the sports brand in general. Now, being woke wasn't great for the United States women's soccer team, but it is amazing for Megan Rapinoe. Look, she got a book deal. She's beloved in Hollywood. She's got Subway endorsements. She's got all of the stuff that comes from the left. When you basically stand up to hate America, you will be handsomely rewarded. But in terms of the U.S. women's soccer team, obviously getting woke didn't help. In terms of the ratings of the Olympics, which are tanking, I believe, double digit from 2016, being woke doesn't help. With the ratings of the NFL, the NBA, ESPN, all of that stuff. So being woke does not help these big brands, but it does help the individual athletes. It is the quickest, easiest way for them to get to notoriety, Twitter followers, and sponsorship dollars.